What's going on, Maschine Masters family? This is MG the Future. Today I'll be bringing you guys an exclusive Maschine Masters tutorial. I'm using both Ableton Live and Maschine today to go over the new Tim Kelley kit. It's called Tim Kelley Presents Decades. Forgive me, I'm pretty sick right now. I'm sicker than a Eminem featuring Hopsin verse, but I'm really excited to do this because Tim, or Tim and Bob for that matter, have been a really big influence on a lot of my production, especially when it comes to R&B. If you don't know who they are, shame on you, especially if you're doing R&B, but you're bound to have heard their music, most notably Cisco's Thong Song, which is probably super platinum by now. Tim, I believe, is right here. And of course you see he has Ableton Live on the screen, so that's what I'll be going over today. There used to be an old Miko video by Open Labs, or Nico, I think, N-E-K-O. And Tim and Bob were in their studio, man, and they had pretty much every keyboard in the universe, like 2 copies of them too, on top of that, every access virus, everything. And they were like resampling a lot of the instruments into the Nico. And if you're an Apple user, MainStage does something really similar. So I blame them for my collection or my hoarding of synthesizers and sounds. But anyway, we definitely have a Maschine store or Maschine shop sale that you guys should check out. So by the time this video comes out, the Tim Kelley Presents kit will be up here. You guys should definitely grab that. Also have the Tim and Bob discography. If you've heard any of these albums, especially Bobby Valentino's first album and all these other credits from Tyrese down the line, you know we're in good company. But with Tim Kelley, he gave us a few different loops from, I guess, his discography, or not his discography, but from his tenure of producing, and it's covering 30 different years. Here he has the 80s loops, and what I did is to kind of deconstruct these and show you how to practically use them. I set up a different scenario for the loops. So right now I'm going to start with the 90s construction kits with the loops and the drum grooves. And what I did was programmed it straight ahead. So most people, when they get construction kits, that's where you start, a straight ahead sequence or arrangement. I'm going to play these one by one. Let's see if we get some sound out of this. And you see it's a full sequence, so it's not quite structured in a, verse, chorus, bridge, although some of them feel like it, but you have plenty of space and plenty of room to chop up and make different arrangements or custom arrangements. And here's the drum pattern. So if you're programming or stacking loops straight ahead, what I do is usually chop these up. But in this case, I'm using a glitch machine to kind of throw an extra beat and rhythm into it. Yeah, and this is from the 90s collection that he provided to us. If I'm not mistaken, each era comes with at least 5 to 10 or 5 to 8 loops, which is pretty cool, especially to get inspired to make something smooth like this. I'm telling you, these dudes are the king of chords, man. Like, I wouldn't even try to play myself trying to replace some of these because they trick you. They throw your ear off a little bit on some of the chord progressions that they have. This particular example is from the 80s section, and here I tried to catch it, what they were doing as far as the chords go. It confused Ableton when I tried to do audio to MIDI, but I'm gonna let you guys hear it. All right, that's the original loop. This is what I end up getting out of it, or modifying. And as you can see, those are some tall chords. And what you do to do that is you right click on your MIDI clip with the audio and you do convert harmony to new MIDI track, and it tries to catch the chords. The only tricky part is this is designed for piano, because piano has such a pure pitch and tone that if a sound has delay in it or reverb, it'll count the notes multiple times, as you can see here. So what you have to do is kind of put your thinking cap on and modify and edit it. And that's what I did, especially when I found out what the bass notes were of the chords. The C sharp, D sharp, F, A sharp, I think is in C sharp major. And what you could do is, if you didn't know that, you go to websites like this, scalesandchords.com, and it has a tool that'll let you type in each key that you can recognize. So in this case, I chose the root notes of each chord. I did find me a scale, and all of these scales contain those chords. A lot of popular songs are in Dorian. I don't know if you guys know that, but instead of using Dorian, I just did C sharp major. And what I derived from that via the circle of fifths chart was the progression. I believe it's 1, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 1, 2, 4, 6 in C major. And I did the same thing with the drum break. So he has this pretty cool drum break. It sounds pitched down because I transposed it down -12. But the reason why I did that is that I converted it to a MIDI track. So you could right click and do convert drums to new MIDI track. And what it'll do is give you a drum rack with generic synthesized drums. And that sounds like this. So if you want to, at this particular point, you can mute the originals and just start from here. And what I did was added the bass, following the root note. So that's that. Those are loops from the 80s. And these are going to be from the 2000s. Let me play what they are first. So I have two different loops here. One is going to be drums, and one is going to be a melody. So in the first example, we're just layering straight ahead, like we're rearranging audio loops and clips, sort of like if you're a Sony Acid or Vegas user. The second example, we're using modern technology. We're taking the content and converting it to MIDI, so we have more customization and able to swap out sounds or layer sounds. In the last example, I'm just approaching it like a hip hop producer if you're chopping up something, which is what a lot of these melodic loops are great for. So that pattern's kind of trapped out. And then we got this melody here. And that reminds me of Jay-Z's Dead Presidents, that List and Garden of Peace. But anyway, this is what I came up with. I ended up using Simpler in the drag and drop feature. So I opened up a Simpler, and what I did was drag my piece in there, if it doesn't disappear. And what I did was I set it to slice mode. It was already at 100% sensitivity, trigger and through. So when you hit one key, it plays the whole thing. When you interrupt it, but it plays all the way through. And that's under playback. So I ended up chopping that up, and I did the same thing with the drums. And I'm using a trigger on that. I set the voices to 3, so they could overlap if the kick and the hi-hat and snare are on the same pattern. But I limited it to 3 because I'm only using 3 sounds. So only 3 sounds technically should be playing at once. And I flipped that pattern and reprogrammed both. And some extra processing to make it sound like it's underwater. That's just a drum pattern. And that's pretty much it. So that just gives you guys 3 different ways to approach using construction kits, especially since in the machine shop we have so many on sale to kind of inspire you to make really high level music. And with someone like Tim Kelley blessing us with these beautiful chords, man, that should definitely step up our production value, at least in my opinion. I've been waiting for this, man. This kit right here is going on my no trade list. I don't know if you guys used to come up producing back in the AOL Instant Messengers days, or in the SoulSeek days when we used to trade kits with each other. You used to always make sure you had a certain folder that doesn't accidentally get shared. This Tim Kelley kit's going in that. I only have a few other kits in my no share or no trade list. It's this one for sure. The Dark Child drums, the Timberland Danger Hands kit, and there's another one. There's another producer's kit that came out that no one really has, that I'm not trading with nobody. But this one goes in that list. I've been waiting for this, especially since I can analyze the chords. And if you just listen to some of his melodies, even like as they play through, another cool thing you can do if Ableton doesn't freeze up on us. So for instance, when you listen to that, you could tell it's been mixed, if not mastered. What you could do with these audio clips is input them into a DAW, in my case it'll be Logic, and get something that has a spectrum or EQ analyzer and or spectrum mapper, and study the RMS levels and the stereo spread, and that'll help you as a mix engineer kind of evaluate how does your instrument sound prior to drum programming, of course. And how to get your levels to match those, how to get your EQ curves to match those. Because these are arranged the way they are, you can hear the individual instruments one at a time. I know my explanation is kind of convoluted, but you can just analyze a professional mix from this guy who does R&B and uses synthesizers, and kind of use that to spec your own mix, basically as a reference track. So I'm very thankful that he provided us with that at high quality. But last but not least, it comes with a drum kit, which has tons of sounds. Let me get off of this pattern before I mess it up. But as you can see, he has it broken down into 808s, claps, FX, hi-hats, kicks, percussion, snares, and vox. Everything's pretty cool. There's really no fluff. Everything's straight to the point. The FX section's crazy. Lots of transitions and drops for your beats. And those crunchy claps, man, from back in the day. It's a pretty standard 808s. I think they might be tuned to C already. If not, you guys know how to tune that by now. But anyway, this is what I had. I put this kit together. Something like that. I love that snare. And let's check it out. Let's see what I end up doing with it. So yeah, man, that's gonna be a lot of fun, man. If I come across a R&B artist, man, we're gonna go to town with these sounds, man. So that's that. That's the Tim Kelley Presents Decades, man. A lot of useful sounds as far as construction goes with the drum loops. You could chop those drum loops up too. There's a lot of sounds in those drum loops that are not, if I'm not mistaken, are not in that kit. For instance, this one. So you could chop that up in Maschine and make new kits out of even his drum loops. If there's a sound in there that caught your ear. And of course, with the melodies and stuff, you could chop them up into chords and throw them into Key Finder, man, and keep you a folder of the chords and use them as stabs or something similar. The possibilities are endless. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, learned something from it. I thank you guys for checking me out and for supporting the Maschine Masters. Definitely subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed already. Check out the membership on machinemasters.com. As always, like, comment, and if you have social media, definitely follow us. I'm at MG The Future. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time.